I'm PJ and I'm gonna play a game. So I just heard about this game called Undertale, but that's not the game I'm playing. I'm playing Deltarune first. So enjoy. So you start the game off by creating your character. It asks you a few questions. It asks you your name. It asks you what your favorite food is. It asks you if you acknowledge the possibility of pain and seizure. Next, we're greeted with the cutscene of our mom waking us up for school. I guess it's our mother. She sort of looks like a goat, if anything. So we make our way downstairs and get in the car. When we arrive at the school, we have to find a partner for the assignment. And all of a sudden, this horse-looking thing barges in, and that's where we meet Susie. By the way, our character is named Chris with a K. Not sure if I mentioned that. Anyway, Susie storms us out and we follow her to the hallway. This is where she slams us against the locker.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't.
And tells us we piss her off. So after this altercation, we follow her to a dark room for some reason where the floor falls from under us. So we wake up in what I'm assuming is a dark underground dungeon. This place is a maze, but later we find Susie in a block of ice, and then we stumble across a guy in a hoodie, and he's like throwing stuff at us, mostly me. No idea where Susie went. So that leaves me to dodge whatever these things are. We soon find Susie again, and then we dodge things again. Then Susie and I finds this guy in a hoodie. He talks to us about something called the Heroes of Light. But after that, the guy who we've seen before, the one who threw a bunch of daggers at me, he showed up and we have to fight him now. And that's when I realized I was playing an RPG. Great. So after a while, we walk through another maze, solve a few puzzles, and we make it to this door where we solve more puzzles. After that, we reach the area where we have to avoid stepping on this white platforms, because if we do, it'll send us right back from where we were. And we ran into this guy again. We keep bumping into him, but I just edit those parts out. So I figured out his name is actually Lancer, and we have to fight this red bottle cap. Halfway through the fight, I found out the only way to beat this guy is to remove his crown, and the only way to do that is to bow, because I guess when he bows, the crown falls off. Anyway, we beat him, and Susie decides to change sides and become evil and goes with Lancer. So I'm left with Railset, my other ally. So me and her goes through another maze, solve more puzzles. There's so many puzzles in this game. And we fight a 3-headed dragon. Then we find Susie and Lancer in a booth selling some cookies, to which Susie tells us the proceeds goes to kicking our ass. Next, we're instructed to make an evil machine. By instructed, I really mean we were tricked. So Susie comes out, then her and Lancer takes the blueprints and bolt it out of there. Now we're being chased down by a giant bird. It makes me nervous. I only have 1 health. So we finally caught up to Susie and Lancer, where they blew up our machine that we made, and now we have to fight them. This fight results in us winning back the loyalty of Lucy, and I guess Lancer also joins our group. By the way, This is the only time he ever makes this face. Now this is when Lancer flees from the group. Susie gives chase and Railset goes after Susie, and I'm left all alone to dodge more daggers. This game is all about dodging, by the way. Next scene, we find ourselves in a jail cell. We see Susie in the cell beside us. I help Susie do a puzzle. This triggers her door cell to open. This leads her to come and open our door. After this, we find an elevator. We hop in. This leads us to another maze. We have to do more puzzles when this guy shows up. This triggers another doorway to open. And here we find, hey, is it the guy from earlier? With him, he brings along the red bottle cap from earlier in the game. So this time we throw Railset at the thing to get his crown off. We beat it and continue through the castle. Forgot to bring up we're in a castle. So we find Lancer's father, the person who owns this castle, I guess. Here we find Lancer standing there with his dad, only to find his father turning on him. Luckily he gets away, leaving us to fight his father. This fight was hard. I had it easy up until this point. This was the first fight I actually lost, but by the third try I beat him. Now it would seem he had a change of heart, but nah, he just tricked Railset into healing him, so he knocked us out. This fight ends up with Susie using a spell, putting him to sleep. Lancer shows up, and that's the last we see of him, and we say goodbye to Railset, but before we head home, she reveals to us that she's actually a bunny with devil horns. How cute. This leaves me and Susie to the fountain, which leads us home. We find ourselves back at the school, so me and Susie part ways, and I get to explore this wonderful city. The citizens kind of look disturbing though, so I make it home and go to bed. But before we end this chapter, we're met with this unsettling cutscene. Okay, at first I didn't know if I wanted to put chapter 2 in the same video, but I just finished it, so here it is. Okay, we start this chapter off by adding our name, and then we're meet with this cutscene of our mom getting us up for school again. We get to school and walk into class. Everyone talks about a project we have to work on. So the class ends. We meet Susie in the hall. So she shakes us while talking about the dark room. So we go back to that door again. Before going inside, our classmate Nolly, she has a much bigger role in this chapter. She shows up and asks if we'll
meet her at the library. I tell her we're committing a crime, so we can't. After she leaves, Susie and I goes in the dark room to find Rosette. We also see Lancer again, and at some point Lancer becomes one of my key items. So I guess now we take him everywhere. So we head back to the real world to go meet Null at the library. In the library, we find another dark room, but this room is kind of different compared to the other one. So we walk around for a bit until we find Null. She gets trapped by this robot whom we call Queen. She takes Null, and we have to fight these guys. After this, Rosette catches up with us and we set off to save Null. Next, we do more walking, spell out the word apple. We find Null in a cage. Beside her is Queen. She challenges us to an arcade game fight. I lost a few times before I got the hang of it. We beat her, but she gets away with Null. So we're still on a quest to get her back. We spell out another word and win a dance battle against some robots. Next, we have to get an enemy to unlock a door for us by hitting this key. We catch up with Queen and find that Null and Birdley, our other classmate, is on Queen's team. He asked me if I wanted to join their side. The first time I declined, but I had another chance to pick join since I had a game over. It didn't change the outcome, so I don't know why they gave me the choice. So we beat him, he blows up, and we end up in a city-themed area. We're at a crossroads when we split up. Rosette asked me who I wanted to tag along with. I chose Susie, but they ended up going together anyway. Again, neither of what I answered would have made any difference in the outcome, so I'm off by myself trying not to get run over by cars. So, more fighting. Then I find Null in a dark alley. Now with her on my team, we do puzzles involving rats. Then we see Rosette and Susie at a fair eating cotton candy without us.
They ask you how you are, you just have to.
Soon after we cross the road while Null makes this face, we find Queen over here. She challenges me to another game fight when all a sudden an over-exaggerated statue of Birdley falls on top of it. Queen tries to get rid of him, of course, because Null is hiding from Queen. Queen is hiding from Birdley. So me and Null does more rat-related puzzles when we find Birdley again, and we soon meet up with him again to fight. We won, obviously. We fight Queen again. Null puts a bag over her head. We all get in the car to hide from Birdley. I fight this guy next to a dumpster, don't ask. So I flip on a switch that gets rid of all traffic. If only real life was like that. We drive away. Queen blows up our car for whatever reason, and we're back to walking on foot. We finally make it to the fair. This is when we part ways with Queen. She still doesn't know that's Null with a bag over her head. We see Susie and Rosette, and the team is back together again. So now the four of us are on a journey to get home. We collect more rats. We find Queen and Birdley when Queen traps us all in a cage, except for Rosette.
yeah, we'll see more of her later. Next, we find ourselves in a room. Lancer finally gets a role in this story because we summon him to let us out. On our way through the castle, though, Lancer becomes ill, so we have to find Rilset so she can help him. But before that, we have to do more puzzles. This one is just of the Queen's face. This one actually took me longer than I'd like to admit, but I got through it. Then we find Railset posing as a butler for Queen. When we ask her for her assistance about Lancer, he turns to stone. I lost track of what we're supposed to do afterwards, but it has something to do with getting Lancer help. So we continue through the castle. We have to fight this thing holding a whip. We have to run away from this guy, and for some reason, Susie starts smashing every vase in the room. We have to find the key in one of these trays. I wasn't looking, so I just got lucky. We have to do this a second time. This time I was paying attention. We have more trays to deal with, so we ride on one of them until we find the key, but it doesn't matter seeing how the key broke and we bust through the door anyway. So here we split up. Susie goes with Birdley and I go with Rilset. She asks if I see her as a lackey, to which I said no. So we make it to this pool of acid, we ride across it, and we have to fight this guy again. When we beat him, we make it across. Next, we see Susie and Noel hanging out together. They get on a Ferris wheel for some reason. Noel asks Susie something. My option was to lie or lie. Guess which one I picked. The Ferris wheel drops them off when Burley came out of nowhere with a rose in his mouth. Later, Susie drops down, landing on Rilset, crushing her. With the three of us together, we finally find Queen and discovered she has Burley trapped. Dodging attacks are getting harder. We won and Burley is freed. Next we find Queen again, but this time with Noel. She's tied up when Susie knocks Queen out, freeing Noel. It's not over yet, seeing how she came back in a huge robot suit. She knocks us down. We fall to our deaths, but then all of a sudden Burley comes to save us. After this, we suit up, which results in this cool scene. This is where we have the final battle against Queen. This battle was hard and annoying, but in the end... No. In the end, we destroyed her, but then she did this. So she grabs a hold of us. She ran out of batteries, I guess, when Burley shows up. After he arrives, some ancient story is being told again, and everyone makes this face. Queen's batteries turns back on. We say goodbye to everyone, and me and Susie makes it to the fountain that leads home. Next, we find ourselves in the library with Noel and Burley. We go back to my house. My character is having another episode. We go out the window for unknown reasons. We fought to sleep on the couch. We do this in the middle of the night. And then credits roll, and... Okay, I'm done with this game. I think Chapter 3 isn't available yet. I didn't look that much into it. But I really like this game, and that's coming from someone who doesn't like games with a lot of story. But with that said, I still have questions. Like, why doesn't levels exist? Because after every battle it says I gained 0 XP. Like what's up with that?
This game plays like an RPG, but it's a lot easier, seeing how you can avoid taking damage by dodging attacks. So I guess that's it. That's my playthrough. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.